Spider-Man is my favourite superhero, even though I am absolutely terrified of spiders. Anyway, in my spare time I used to practice drawing when it came to character design, like designing superheroes and supervillains based off Ranjan's superpower generator. Thanks to the YouTube algorithm, I stumbled across videos that came out after the release of Spider-Verse, when artists would design their own iterations of spider-themed superheroes called spider-sonas. This week, I became burnt out from animating and making animatics, but I still wanted to do something creative, so I decided that I would create some spider-sonas, although more as original characters instead of being based off myself, because I'm boring. And I wanted to have the designs based off some of the more weird or interesting spider species out there. Looking through those spider pictures as an arachnophobic was a horrible experience. So the first spider I picked to be the base of this design was the bird dung crab spider from eastern and southern Australia, the home of weird ass creatures including myself. Doesn't seem irrational to be terrified of spiders now, huh? I figured it would be funny to make the designs based off a spider that's all about smelling like shit to repel predators and lure prey. So I decided that the design would be reminiscent of the classic Spidey. I had the Goofy 60 cartoons in my mind when I was thinking of characterization. You know, I can see J. Jonah Jameson ranting about this iteration of Spider-Man's stench as a reason for so many articles. I also added spikes on the shoulders to try and make him stand out, and added those spikes and gloves to emulate brass knuckles, as the spider in reference image also has spikes. This entire character is just meant to be a goofy ass superhero, because I just love goofy ass superheroes. So the spider I picked for this character design was the long-horned orb weaver, a little spider with long-ass horns, and if it's female, it's colourful, from China, India, Southeast Asia and Borneo. I decided to go for a more gritty design, as the tone of Tasm's one design, being a spider vigilante that looks and behaves like a menace, just made sense to me for this character. I came up with a variety of powers for the spider-sonas, including more crawling and spider sense for all of them. Spider Dung had his stench, but this character, Devil Weaver, I just figured devil because of the demon-esque like horns, will have horns that can be adjusted in a similar manner to Wolverine's claws. Why? Because even with my gritty superheroes, I like to have something goofy and silly, but also they're perfect if you want to surprise someone with an impalement. Devil Weaver has webs from web shooters and a paralysing venom that can be released by scratching and biting people. I made the logo for this character a bit more complicated, as it had more distinct shapes and cuts, along with dots, spider eyes, and the long horns, in order to give that menacing presence. I used the colour scheme of black and red from the reference image of the spider, but adding shades of pink to make the eyes and logo stand out. Grey being a suitable colour for the belt of web fluid and the web shooters. I decided to have the mask not like the typical Spider-Man mask, that's the kind you put on like a morph or spandex suit, but rather a mask similar to those hockey masks, as I thought having a mask resembling characters like Jason Voorhees would make the Devil Weaver more intimidating. I pictured Devil Weaver to be a vigilante in a way, but in a way that she thinks she's above the law, meaning she'll be hostile to just about anyone if they cross her, as she's fighting crime. This could involve criminals and cops, you know, basically anybody. She'd be the type to attack J. Jonah Jameson if he offended her in like the first article he made on her. I spent way too much time researching and thinking on this one. This design is based on the mirror spider, a spider also from Australia. So the mirror spider is a spider with a reflective body and that's also shiny with translucent legs. Perfect for seeing your reflection of terror as it tries to kill you. So I decided that this character wouldn't be just the wall crawl, but have a bunch of mirror gimmick powers too. I spent too much time researching mirrors and mirror-themed superheroes and villains to come up with a suitable name and power set. Like 2 hours straight. I settled on the name Silver Spinster, who would have iron grapple webbing made from tech web shooters. He would also have the abilities to go invisible like 2020's Invisible Domestic Abuser, as the costume has mirror cameras just like the suit in that Invisible Man film. I also got inspired by the Flash villain Mirror Master with how he can create illusions with gadgetry. These would be clones, similar to the Scarlet Spider suit power from Spider-Man PS4. And maybe scary spiders as well. While drawing, I added a gadget belt that had the spider signal button on it, but it would have a dial for 3 functions. The first function is the Spidey signal light. The second function is making illusions like the power that I mentioned earlier. And the final third function is going invisible. All Silver Spinster needs to do is just turn the dial and press the button. As I was drawing, I thought of giving the character Iron Spider mandibles, hence why I had the Iron Spider as a reference image, but I decided not to because I figured that this character had enough stuff and also couldn't figure out the best way to draw it. I put up the Fuchsia Foundation suit as a reference image because I was struggling for a while on how to design the costume and if it should have any patterns, but I decided against those kinds of patterns anyway, so it didn't matter. I picked a Silver Spinster to obviously be an inventor, not like Iron Man when he's a rich playboy billionaire, but someone who just makes a lot of gadgets in their spare time because they're a tech nerd and want an excuse to use them, which would make sense to use them for hero work, because why not? This design is based on the diving bell spider and the water spider. I'm not sure if they're separate species, but it's based off basically both of those spiders, I think. For the origins of these characters, the idea is that they're humans who got bitten much like Peter Parker and Miles Morales with the genetically altered spiders. And they get cool powers while being human, even if mutated. For this character, however, no. Web Diver here instead got the complete opposite effect, being a person who got bitten by a spider and took the form of a spider monster from then on, cursed to lose their sense of humanity and become a deranged spider monster, driven to the watery depths. Web Diver can swim and breathe underwater thanks to the webs carrying oxygen for them, much like the real water spiders. They also have multiple spider mandibles, perfect for collecting human prey. Drawing the mouth was a learning curve for me, as you can see by the footage. I had to use another reference image for it. I had 2 ideas for the costume design. One, a tattered spider hero costume, or a swimsuit outfit with a spider logo on it. I ended up picking the swimsuit because I figured it would be more fitting. I wrote the text, diving bell spider swim gear, just to sort of justify why the logo's there, like the suit is from a spider themed brand. I picture Web Diver to be like a what if the Spider-Man character was a horror movie character instead of a superhero, which is why I used the end of Friday the 13th's iconic shot as a reference for the artwork. So here's all the designs and artwork for the characters I've now designed. I think it was worth it in the end. In fact, looking at those spider reference photos made me feel a little bit less scared of spiders.